Our next session on a fantastic topic going in sync with what we had just a discussion. A streamlined and a smooth flow. Customer Centricity 3.0. And to talk on this fantastic session, I would like to call on stage with a brief introduction first. Our next speaker, Mr. Brad Meehan, Managing Director, Strativity Group. Little bit of insights about our next speaker. Brad has designed and delivered customer-centric transformations for over 70 multinational organizations in over 20 countries globally. He advises CEOs in areas of customer obsession, experience design, and competitive advantage. Brad holds an MBA from Queensland University of Technology and has completed Harvard Business School leadership programs in customer-centric strategy, competitive strategy, and organizational change. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brad Meehan, Managing Director, APAC from Strativity Group. Brad, we are delighted to have you here. And what a topic, Customer Centricity 3.0. All over to you.
Thanks. I'll just grab the clicker. Good morning, everyone. It's lovely to be here. Thank you. So look, just a little bit of background. Strativity is a global research, strategy, experience design, and change firm. I don't think you can... We checked the formatting just before to make sure it was all good, but it seems to have thrown out on that slide. But so yeah, as an organisation, we work with brands all around the world, helping them improve customer centricity, helping them improve the quality and the consistency and the differentiation of the experience they deliver. We've worked in almost every sector, and we're very proud of the fact that Forrester Research rated us a number of years ago as the leading specialist customer experience consulting firm in the world. We've worked with Harvard Business Review as well, helping to publish thought leadership articles over a number of years. The work we do really falls into a couple of areas. We help organisations embed the concept of being customer-centric deep into their structure and systems and processes. And we also help organisations map, enhance, design and innovate the front stage experience that they deliver to their customers. And what I thought would be interesting today is to just share some of our learnings from the research and the experience we've had over the last couple of decades. If you want to help an organisation to achieve competitive advantage and to create value in terms of sort of commercial value from CX, what are the most important things to do? I'd like to start by talking about understanding what might be holding you back. In many organisations, there are a set of underlying beliefs that undermine strategic change. We worked with a large university, and this university wanted to improve student satisfaction, but they had very unimpressive results over a number of years. When we spoke to their employees, we realised that most employees believed that they were such a prestigious university that their customers should feel lucky to come. And that belief was holding the organisation back. One of the other most common beliefs is about the focus of change. So we often, when we work with organisations, we ask employees of the organisation, do you think this company needs to change in the future to compete effectively? And most people will say, yes, we could be so much better. We then ask people, do you think the change is minor or is it significant? And many people will say it's quite significant. Then we ask the question, do you believe you need to change? And what we find is the percentages drop significantly. And lastly, we say, do you need to change in a significant way? And it's almost no one. So everyone believes the organisation could be better, but no one believes they personally need to adapt. And that's an example of an underlying belief that can undermine strategic change. Number two is it's so important to move beyond transactions and develop genuine empathy. One of the examples on the panel was from the pharmaceutical sector. So what I've found is many organisations are very good at capturing observational information. Customers found this form annoying, or they found this digital process difficult, etc. But genuine empathy means understanding what motivates human behaviour. So we worked with a pharmaceutical company, and in that particular instance, they were looking to transition customers or patients from tablet to an injectable through a needle. They thought the problem was people didn't like needles. But when we spoke to patients, what we realised was deep down, they didn't want to accept that their condition had gotten so bad that they were moving to the next phase. And in that phase, they would have to move to an injectable. What was stopping them moving forward with that product was not the fact they didn't like needles, it was the psychological acceptance of their state in life. Once we understood that, we could change the positioning and they were able to achieve an 8% impact in terms of sales. So I guess the point here is it's not about just understanding what's happening at the surface, but it's about going really deep and empathising with customers so you can innovate the experience you're delivering. Infusing the customer perspective into decision making is so important. Most organisations are very internally orientated, and you have to work very hard to be truly customer orientated. It's so easy for an organisation to think product or process or cost. In order to infuse that customer perspective in, there are some questions you can ask and answer regularly. A great question is, before we make this decision, what insight from our customers have we used to feed our thinking? And another question is, will this decision move us towards or away from our target experience? The experience your organisation delivers is the sum total of all the decisions made through the organisation. Some are more important than others, but all those decisions come together to deliver the experience of your brand. So deliberately infusing the customer perspective into decision making is critical and can be done quite easily with some practical steps. Another key thing we've learned is about clarity on target experience. Most organisations fail to consistently deliver exceptional experiences because they've never defined exceptional. So what we like to do is help organisations be crystal clear. What is the vision for our experience across analogue and digital channels? What are the key principles that need to impact how we behave interactionally and need to impact our design of experiences? Digital contact centre, what it is. Thinking about the vision and a set of enabling principles that can be embedded in an organisation is so important, as is designing every aspect of the experience in detail. Now, I know you can't read this, but the framework is what's important. For many organisations, there is great value in mapping out every journey stage and interaction at a life cycle level and thinking very clearly about the objective of the brand, the target memory, the target emotion, and describing exactly what exceptional looks like. Most companies can't nail exceptional because they can't even define it. And if you can't define it, you are no chance of consistently executing it. Another really important thing is to shift the mindset of the business. Most humans, when they're in a work environment, will default to a process and task orientation. We start the day with a huge to-do list. We want to move through those tasks. We want to tick them off. It's human nature. But organisations who truly build competitive advantage around customer experience, they fight against this by reorientating around target memory and emotion. I noticed one of the gentlemen on the panel was from the life insurance sector. So I'll provide an example from that sector. We worked with a company, a large life insurance provider, and when people rang the contact centre to explain that they had a life-threatening illness and they needed to start a claim, the third most common response was, "Great, can I grab your account number, please?" Now, obviously, this came across as unempathetic, to say the least. What the management said to us is, we want to change the scripts and the KPIs so we deliver a better experience. And we said, no, you don't. What you want to do is you want to take your employees, you want to have them truly empathise with customers, and you want to leave it up to them to deliver an experience in their own way that creates particular memories and particular emotions. So we took hundreds of contact center workers. We showed them videos and we talked to them about what it feels like to be diagnosed with lymphoma or cancer or something life-threatening. They were crying. After an hour, they really got it. They felt emotionally connected to the customer. Then we said to them, if it was your mum who called in and she hung up the phone after an hour with you, how would you want her to feel? What would be the one memory you'd want? And after some discussion, everyone agreed the memory was, they really care about me. When we talked about how we'd want your mum to feel, the emotion that came out was confident. Without any further training, we sent them back out and said, when you get one of those calls, a level 1 call, which is life-threatening, forget scripts, forget KPIs. Your only job is to create that memory and anchor it to that emotion. And without any training, the same person a week ago that was saying, great, can I grab your account number, was now saying, I can't imagine what you must be going through. Your head must be spinning. This process is going to take 45 minutes at least. Would you like me to call you back later when you've got a support person next to you as we go through all of the questions? And just so you know, I've been doing this job for 7 years and I'm going to look after you the whole way from the start to the finish. You can't script it. But if you empathize and you focus on memory and emotion, you get a different experience. This is as important in UX. Great UX is not about best practice design. Great UX is about deep, empathetic understanding of that context, which allows us to deliver digital experiences that meet the customer where they're at. And that's an example of one of the clients from the life insurance organisation that we used a video of to really build that empathetic connection. Another one is to share practical examples of good versus exceptional to make things real. If you talk to employees, any of them across your business, and you talk to them about we want to be exceptional, most people will already believe they're very close to exceptional, if not there already. What we do at Strativity is we take a variety of digital and human interactions. We also take back office processes. And we build scenarios. We show people what good looks like, what very good service looks like, polite, friendly, frictionless interfaces, self-service capabilities, and then we contrast it to truly exceptional. The more differentiation you can give between good and exceptional, the more able you are to bring an organisation on the journey to get there. It's one of the very best techniques to make it real across everyday scenarios. Number 7 is very important. It's about aligning operating capabilities with target experience delivery. If you've ever been part of a project that looks to redesign an operating model, largely the impetus is to pull out cost, decrease risk, improve efficiency, and take advantage of technology. However, the most customer-centric organisations in the world think differently. They design their target experience in detail. They then assess their capabilities against that target experience, and they then adjust their capabilities to execute their experience because that's where the value is. So imagine an organisation that puts in the effort and time to designing the life cycle experience, thinking carefully about every interaction, thinking about the objective of the brand, the target memory, the target emotion, and describing what exceptional looks like. Once they've built that out using co-creation techniques and based heavily on a deep empathetic understanding of customers, they storyboard it out. They paint a vivid picture through illustration or through video of exactly what the experience could look like. They drill in to an online claim event and they double click and they put exactly a picture to the organisation as to how a frictionless digital experience could exist, but one that meets the needs of the customers and allows us to differentiate in a crowded market. What they might do then is assess their operating capabilities to understand where they're well positioned or poorly positioned to execute. So if we look at the bottom part of this map, you'll see a sea of red. What we did in this instance is we went through every aspect of the experience and we considered our people, resourcing, mindset, skill set, capability. We considered our operating structure. We considered our processes. We considered our technology stack. We looked at every aspect of how we operated and we worked out where we had the capability and where we lacked the capability. And that drove an extremely mature conversation about what we should do. Many design projects fail because it's easy to come up with an aspirational design, but it's hard to invest in capability and sequence activities to make it come to life. So what we want to do when we help an organisation design their target experience is we don't want to build something that's aspirational and unfunded. We want to build something that's ambitious yet achievable. Having this conversation with the executive team and talking to the CFO about what it would take to invest in capability to deliver some of these experiences is so critical. To tell you the story, in this particular example, we talked about the online claim event. And when we spoke to the CFO, we said, what do you want to do? Do you want to invest in capability to deliver on the experience? Or do you want to decrease your aspiration in light of capability? And he said, I can't answer the question, Brad. Tell me, will a digitised claim event decrease cost, or are we hoping that it increases revenue through better retention and advocacy? How much would it cost to build that capability, and will it meet our internal rate of return hurdles? What many organisations lack in the CX space is a mature conversation about the economics of target experience delivery. There's lots of good feedback programs, there's lots of spasmodic design, and there's lots of good intent. But the organisations that nail this are very strategic, and they link up target experience design with their operating model, and they have a synchronised plan that lifts capability and helps them progress the target experience. And they assess target experience progression weekly or monthly. So what we often do is we help an organisation design it, and then we give them a set of measurement capabilities so they can track progress and they can see themselves moving from a current state, which is unbranded and inconsistent, to a target state that is on brand, distinctive and value accretive. The other thing organisations tend to do, who are leaders in this area, is they use data to understand current experience and to maximise ROI. Now, everyone is trying to do this, but one of the ways we find is most effective is to take a cohort of customers who have positive experiences and take a cohort who have negative experiences, track their behaviour over a period of time, and look at margin, spend, tenure, etc., and build a commercial model that shows you the relationship between different interactions and overarching experience perception, and overarching experience perception and commercial profitability. Without that model, you can spend years trying to get funded. But if you can build a proper model that links interactional experience with relationship level perception, with actual profitability, you can then optimize investment. You can target the right products, the right channels, the right customers, the right markets, and you can also invest with confidence, knowing that the investments you're making are going to deliver that return. And as you start to do that, you build confidence with CEOs and executive teams, and you unlock additional funding so that you can build that competitive advantage through commercial value creation. So a lot of our work at Strativity is not just designing future experiences, empathizing with customers, or equipping people to shift mindsets, but it's building complex commercial models so that the finance team can unlock the funding and invest with confidence. The last one I was going to touch on is probably the greatest barrier to becoming an organisation that's renowned around the world for exceptional experiences beyond your sector. And that's recognising that the enemy of exceptional is the belief that we're already pretty good. If at an organisation we believe we're customer-centred and our experiences are great, we're probably not going to have the appetite, enthusiasm or commitment to deliver experiences that are distinctive. So one of the things we do with organisations often is we assess customer-centric capabilities or their current CX approach against global best practice. We highlight strengths and weaknesses, and we provide very, very specific guidance on where you might want to change things to achieve a faster path to value. The very best thing about that process is not the recommendations or the roadmap that comes out of it, it's the shifting of executive mindsets. Because when they start to look at what is global best practice and they look at maybe 20 dimensions of what they do, they believe they're not as good as they thought. And unless your NPS scores are plus 100, and unless every customer is advocating and spending quadruple what they're spending with any other sector, it could be that your experiences aren't consistently exceptional and differentiated. And if they're not, there's an opportunity to create value. This is just a list of the top 9 things that I've talked about today. And these, obviously there's more than this, but these were just 9 things that I think are particularly impactful if you're looking to guide your organisation on this journey. Happy to share these slides if they would be helpful for facilitating a conversation in your organisation. It's a bit hard to read the bottom of the screen, but I've got my email address up here and my phone number. Obviously I'm on LinkedIn. If there's anything you'd like to chat about, we'd love to talk to you about what companies are doing strategically, how they're driving change. We also have a CXO board, which is a network of very senior customer professionals who get together around APAC to unpack best practice and push ourselves to new levels. And we also run certification programs where we train organisations in CX strategy and give them a set of templates, tools and enhanced capabilities so they can execute these improvements. But I hope there was some interesting insights in my session. I really appreciate your time and thank you for having me up here today.
Thank you, Brad, for that wonderful presentation. And since we have time, so I would like to ask the audience, if you have a question for Brad, please do raise your hand and we will provide the mic to you. You can introduce yourself, your organization, and the question to Brad. All right, can we have the mic? So I would request you to kindly introduce yourself, your organization.
I represent the SC Investment. Now my question is that everyone is talking about the customer experience. So customer experience is very good, but it seems to be, it turned out to be a product is not so good. So what will the consequences of the product you sold, but what will be the consequences of for the organization if the product is inferior and the customer experience to buy it is very good?
It's an interesting question. Most of it comes down to the definition of customer experience. So customer centricity is an organisational orientation towards customers where the thinking starts with customer. Customer experience is the total perception of brand, product, service interactions, anything that impacts how I reflect on it. So you can't have a good customer experience with an inferior product because the inferior product is impacting your customer experience. So I would encourage an organisation with that challenge to step back and think holistically. If you improve service interactions around an inferior product, you're never going to be an organisation that builds competitive advantage or creates commercial value through that distinctive, differentiated experience. In most of the work we do, when we design experiences, it's including products, capabilities, interactions, etc. And in digital companies, you often can't separate the product from the experience. In fact, the experience often is the product, especially if there's no human-to-human interaction. So it's really about stepping back holistically, understanding what customers expect, what motivates their behaviour, thinking about every product, service, brand interaction, designing for the future maybe 2 years out, what exactly we want it to look like, and then working backwards to deliver the improvements and innovations and close the gaps. I hope that's helpful.
Thank you so much, Brad, for that. And ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause once again
Thank you.
for Mr. Brad Meehan, Managing Director, APAC from Strativity Group. Now, Brad, I would ask you to kindly be on stage. And I would like to call on stage Mr. Rakesh Gupta, Head Customer Experience from Anchor by Panasonic. And Mr. Gupta, if you could kindly do the honors of felicitating our expert speaker here.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I've got some flowers.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you so much for that wonderful session on Customer Centricity 3.0. Very insightful.
Thank you. It was really insightful for the CX leaders.
Thank you.
No, what's for you?
Oh, it's for me to okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you.
Gupta.